Welcome to the Whole Person Parenting Podcast. We're here to have honest conversations about how to follow Jesus and parent kids in a whole person way. For more content and encouragement as we support you on your journey, you can find us on Instagram, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. We're so glad you're here. Now let's jump in. Hey everyone, welcome to the Whole Person Parenting Podcast. We're so happy that you guys are here. My name is Presley, and I'm here with my mom, Val. And
Hello.
we are your podcast hosts.
Yep, here we are again.
Here we are again, another week.
Another episode.
So we're in our series called Are We There Yet? Kind of road trip-esque of kind of the through the developmental stages of life. And what we think is important of them spiritually as Christians, and then also just kind of looking at how God designed us to be, and embracing that rather than rejecting it.
For sure.
Is something really important to us. And so today we're finally reaching probably the age that everyone dreads.
Yeah.
Which
but,
is,
maybe.
I would think so. Yeah, maybe.
After the
I think I dreaded it even
twos.
as someone coming in, like not even as a parent, just as someone growing into it. I was like, that's supposed to be the years where you figure everything out, kind of. And that's not really necessarily true, but we're going into adolescence, which is ages roughly like 13 to 19. Is that correct?
Yeah. Around there. Yeah. Around like definitely through 18, through those school age.
Those teenage
high
years.
school years.
High school, teenage, late middle school into high school.
Yeah.
So we kind of just wanted to give like a foundation in this episode of, for one, like our experience with this age, because we probably have vastly different experiences as well, just with time period and things. We'll see. Yeah. And also just like looking at what is developmentally happening in the teenage brain, and just kind of giving a little intro into the age.
Yeah, we figured this one's going to need to be broken up a bit.
Because it's so...
Well, it spans a lot of time.
Yeah.
And it also is...
It's our largest span of time that we've talked about yet.
Yeah, it's also just challenging. And I think the one that a lot of parents feel sort of lost about. I remember...
Like at a loss almost. Yeah.
Right. I remember, though, feeling like I thought because your dad and I had worked with teenagers so much.
You were getting into it feeling more confident?
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I was excited about the teenage years because and I think Dad probably was too, because we both had like a history of being able to connect well with
and I've witnessed that.
And so
I've seen you guys connect really well with teenagers.
So we thought maybe, I don't know, I guess we thought like, oh, we're going to be better at this than
others.
The other,
I think too. I remember feeling much more like you guys were like my friends during this time. Like I remember feeling like I could relate to you guys a lot more.
Yeah. Oh, like more than you had before.
Yeah, more than we had before.
Yeah.
Like I could understand your jokes, or like we would laugh about the same things because we had the things like that. Like I felt more connected. Like.
Yeah, I think that's true for sure. Yes, because we had like common things to talk about, and and we did. I mean, I guess I did enter the teenage years with you guys in like thinking about, like very aware that this was preparation for your launching, and which I think can be helpful and then like problematic at the same time, because it can make the teenage years kind of drag on whenever you start them with that in mind.
It also comes into an expectation with like, I have to make sure they're prepared.
Yes.
Which is true.
It is true.
Like you do have to make sure they're prepared. But if you're thinking of every day as like, all right, they got to learn a lesson today.
Right.
Then it's going to get really monotonous.
Yeah. And like when I start thinking about that when you're 13, 14 and you still have all these years of development and maturing to do, it can be like, you can start to believe, oh no, especially I think with your first teen, you can start thinking like, oh no, like
they're never going to get there.
Yeah. Like it's, or like you start judging how they are at that age, as like predictive of how they're going to be as an adult.
Yeah.
And as like an older teen.
Yeah, and I think I feel like my teenage years did feel very long because you're going through so many different phases. Like I feel like I was like 6 different people.
Yes.
Like I was a different person each year in a way.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I felt so mature at 13 and I'm like, and you know, just like so many different eras of Presley. Like you feel like you go through so many stages where like as before you're in your kid stage and that stays there for a long time. But then it just like is like whiplash in the the teen years. Like I went through so many different emotions and phases and just hard things, like really hard things happen. I feel like in teenage years, or like realizations that you have about just where the world is and like what's going on around you, and you're taking that all in. And just depending on your giftings too, you could be like really empathetic and you're like taking on all this like realization with like a really heavy heart, and like there's just a lot of different like things that are going on in this time frame. So maybe talk about like your experience as a teenager. Like what was the teen years like for you?
I was
in the 80s, right?
No,
90s.
not in the 80s.
No, you were born in the 1980s. And then late 90s.
Yeah, late 90s.
Was like your teenage years.
Yeah, it was a really interesting time. I mean, like for me, I had like a few transitions in terms of like where I lived. Yeah. And so I had the experience of like culture shock in the middle of my teenage years. We moved
from Ohio.
Yeah, but like in the span of like a 1.5 year long period, I essentially went from living in rural Oklahoma to metropolitan Atlanta, Georgia. Yeah. And that was very different. I just can't even describe all the differences. Yeah. I mean, it was just like a completely different world.
But you really love Atlanta.
And
like, I described that as like your favorite place you've ever lived.
It is my favorite place I've ever lived. And it was, I think it wasn't how it began, but it was how it ended. And so when you were talking about like all of the different seasons and like different versions of yourself, I definitely could see like I guess with the transitions, opportunity for, you know, trying on different versions of myself.
Reinventing yourself.
Yeah. But then at the same time, I think the biggest impact in my teenage years, I think there were 2 things that were actually 3 things, sorry. Okay. I think 3 things that were really helpful for me. One was that I went to counseling. And I think it was, you know, not because there was a great thing going on. I was really depressed and, but I went to counseling and I felt like that was extremely helpful for me and helpful for my mom. And like, she will talk about that as being a way that she learned how to better communicate with me, because we had a hard time communicating with each other and had, you know,
difficult
some struggles.
Times,
some in our relationship. Then I think also being like rooted in my church community.
You talk about that a lot. Every time that we talk about your teenage years, you're just so like, important. It was so helpful for you.
It was so important to me. It wasn't just like this huge youth group. I mean, it was like a decent size, like probably a mid-sized, you know, kind of youth group. But we had a really great team of adults who were supporting us and like who I think seemed in retrospect to take like a special interest in me and really just were there for me in a lot of ways and like became like a community that I could feel belonging with.
And they're still with you today, and you guys just went and saw them a couple years ago.
Yeah, my youth pastor and his wife, and they were very, very important and influential. And and so I think that was really important for me. Dad also talks about his youth group experience being really important for him in his teenage years.
And I'm also going to talk about that in a second.
So, and then I think thirdly was that out of that youth group, I met some really good friends who were like be a little ahead of me on their like spiritual journey, and I felt really challenged by them, and they were my peers, and I felt like that was really important for me at that time, and really set me on a good path in terms of like my personal relationship with God.
Yeah. I think for me, my high school years, well, for one, they're not very far off because I'm only 19, so I'm still in them. But when I think about high school,
well, you're not in high school anymore.
I'm not in high school anymore, so I would say I would say I'm now in.
You're in the college
young
years.
Adult. I'm in the college years. Saved by the Bell college years.
The best season.
The best season.
I loved it so much.
It was so good.
Anyway,
yeah, we love Saved by the Bell.
I will resist the urge to sing the introduction.
And now Saved by the Bell. I'm not resisting the urge. And now Saved by the Bell.
Oh my goodness.
Electric guitar. Anyways, nice. Yeah, my I could describe my high school years as probably like tumultuous. I mean, same kind of thing. Like, youth group was extremely helpful for me. Honestly, I could say it changed my life. Like, getting involved and just being able to see like what it means to truly follow Jesus, based on like mentors that I had, and my youth pastor at the time was like someone I really looked up to and I wanted to be like, and still do. And just truly people that like I had never realized what living for Jesus could look like and how freeing and amazing it could be, until I met those people. 'Cause I would say like going into high school, I was having a lot of questions about like, is this real? Is God real? Is this truly like the best option for life? Like I'd always raised Christian, obviously, and in church, but and I just got sick of it. And I was experiencing these like really hard things, and it wasn't lining up with what the Bible had said or all these things I'd always heard. And I had a really hard time with depression as well, and anxiety and suicidal thoughts and addictions, and just really hard time, which I think a lot of high schoolers nowadays go through, and probably in your time too. Mm. But I mean, I can remember just how many of my friends were dealing with sexuality and going to a public school. I mean, I was seeing people, just doing drugs in the bathroom, and I was just seeing all this dark stuff, and it wasn't lining up, and like that eventually like caused me to turn away from the Lord for a bit. But then like thank God that He had a better plan, and he was willing and ready and able to keep pursuing my heart, until finally I realized it was the better way, and now it's been 3 or so years like following the Lord wholeheartedly. So I mean, I just say all that to say that like truly there are so many different things going on, but the things that most helped me were youth and having parents that were willing to stick with me, and never gave up on me, even when I'm sure they probably wanted to. And maybe sometimes didn't want to, but maybe thought about it. No, I was kidding.
Really?
Really?
No.
I would have been like, oh, I'm sick of this chick. But yeah, I would say those two things. And then just like, honestly, school really helped me. Like being really involved. Even though there were like times where I had to give things up to follow the Lord. And that caused me to lose a lot of my friends. But, the Lord still had a better plan, and like focusing on like academics like really helped me. Like, 'cause I really loved school, and I still do. I loved reading, and I loved being, doing well in school and learning. And so that was really helpful for me. It gave me something to focus on, gave me something to take my mind off of things whenever it got really overwhelming. So yeah, that was my experience in high school. It was a lengthy explanation, but
yeah, no, it's okay. I mean,
there's just so much. I'm like, I feel like I went I feel like I went through like all the eras.
There is a lot. And I mean, I think it's just, I guess as we're talking about it, we're talking about like the importance of relationships and in this time, and like how important the right friends are, how important the right
changing
adults in your life are, and faith community is. And I think sometimes it's hard to always keep sight of that, especially I think in our culture today. It's like when there are different things that can really pull for our attention. Like we had with you, your like talents and like desire to do performances like show choir and things like that. And like with Braden, we had, sports initially. It's like, and in what pulls for our attention, some of those things are like important, and we can get really fixated on them as like a means to go to college or a means to be successful or learn teamwork or learn, collaboration and things like that. And none of those are bad, but I think sometimes it can be like, well, either my child's going to be involved in church or they're going to do this, but they can't do both because of our society nowadays doesn't really, always adhere to, better in Oklahoma than other places, but doesn't adhere to like those expectations that we're going to be going to church on Sundays and Wednesdays. And so things are scheduled over them, or, you don't always have the, I guess there's not always the support for doing everything. And it can be hard to lose sight of like, what's the most important thing, because especially whenever you have, teenagers who are now communicating like adults in some ways, in saying, this is what I do want to do, this is what I don't want to do. And I think we can feel as parents like that natural pull toward them being more autonomous. And we can even be fighting with like, whether I should let you make this decision or I make this decision for you. We have also the pushback because there's a need for independence that's happening. And that's all like God's design. Like you said at the beginning of this episode, like this reminder that God created us to develop and have these like internal drives at these certain points in our lives for a purpose. Like it is by design that we do this.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of parents want to push back against it,
mm-hmm.
Which I think is both valid, but also it gets to a point where it's fighting against God's design.
Right.
And then if you're unwilling to flow with the Lord and how He designed even the most basic things to be, then of course you're going to have resistance.
Yeah.
Because His plan is ultimate and His plan is all this. And obviously you got to use discernment in those things.
Yeah.
But the autonomy itself, maybe not even what they want to do with the autonomy, but the autonomy itself is by
God's
design.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now what they do with the autonomy, that's where the parenting comes in, and that's where the guide comes in. But the actual autonomy itself, it's
not wrong.
It's godly. It's meant to be that way. It's set apart to be that way.
Right. And it's so that they can have we can all develop our own relationships and find like, what is it that God has for me in my life, that is apart from my family, that is like unique. And
because God doesn't just see in families, He does see families, but He sees the individual. He's an individual, personal God.
Yeah.
And so if we don't acknowledge that, then you're misjudging God's character as well.
Yeah.
And saying, well, He only sees my kid as my possession and an extension of me.
Mm-hmm.
That's not true, because He designed them perfectly formed them in the womb and has seen them grow up and has been there for them the whole time.
Yeah. And we're meant to be individually drawn and pulled into relationship with Jesus, that we're supposed to leave our parents and we're supposed to follow Him.
Yeah.
And
that's biblical.
It is.
It's I mean, when they talk about marriage, they talk about marriage. They say one will leave their family and hold fast and become one, and that's the new family, and that's the new.
Yeah. So we have, but I do think we have this like battle, because I think it can feel like loss for the parent. It can feel like loss of control. So like fear can really take hold in this season, because we are dealing with a person who is maybe looks like an adult now, maybe sounds a lot like an adult now, but does not have the brain development fully to function.
What's the development looking like? So if they look like an adult, speak like an adult, but like what's actually going on?
Well, I mean, they're becoming more like an adult. I mean, it's happening, but it's a process. It's not
overnight.
And the way they may look and sound and behave in some ways may not be, it's still not fully formed, right? We're still forming. Our like brain development is still happening. And so like, even though the size of the brain is as big as it's going to get, like all the functionality is getting fine-tuned in this stage. And even finally that prefrontal cortex, which is our the part of our brain
center, right?
Our thinking, our planning, our decision making, like whether we can make a good decision or not, that doesn't fully form until your mid-20s. So you're still in this place of like maybe not able to think through things all the way, maybe not able to completely plan on your own. Although teenagers are very capable of having long-term plans. They're capable of having long-term relationships. They're capable of seeing a bigger picture in a more abstract way of thinking. But they're maybe just not able to fully make those decisions yet. And so they do need guidance. They need support, and they need parents and other adults in their lives to speak into the decisions that they're making and thinking. But I know that's hard. I mean, we had some
issues,
battles around that.
And it was hard for me to hear pushback against my ideas. Like, because I mean, you can always hear the phrase of like teenagers think they know everything. And part of that is like,
you maybe know as much as you can.
Yeah. I mean, I do know some stuff now.
Yeah. Right.
And I have had experiences that I've learned.
Yeah. And I even know that that, coming to the acceptance and like even having like being proud of you for you have strengths and you have a knowledge that I don't have, even though I'm your mom and even though I'm older. I don't know everything more, and I know some things more than you do, but I don't know everything that you know. And that's okay. And that's that's a good thing. And that's something that you can offer in our relationship that is a benefit to me as your mom.
Yeah. We had our conflicts for sure. Me and Dad did as well, although they were typically more subtle. Ours would be more, but like more
direct.
Yeah. And that was hard. Like that was really hard for me, and I'm sure it was hard for you too, because again, you're getting into that stage where this person is feeling more and more like your friend, more like someone you want to be around. And maybe that's not the case for every parent, but like I love my mom and I like hanging out with her. I think she's funny and I think she's witty and she's knowledgeable, and I like talking to her. That might not be the case for every teenager, although I will say that my mom did a great job of, I feel like, balancing the friendship and the mom side, because I feel like if you only, especially in the teenage years, I remember hearing so many of my friends being like, oh, I just hate my mom, like I hate my parents, like I don't want to be around them. And others would be like, oh, my mom's my best friend. And I feel like we were a good balance of like, yes, I do think you're like a good friend to me, but also you are my mom. And so I feel like finding the balance for parents in that of friend and mom, of like being able to relate to them. And this is kind of what we went back to last week with the relational equity. But talking about like are they wanting to listen to you, or do they like, because if the teenager is coming into every conversation with the expectation that they're either going to be criticized, they're going to be corrected, or they're just going to be ignored and feeling like they aren't valuable, then their ears are automatically going to be shut. And that was, and there was sometimes too where I was just like, I just had a bad day and I don't want to hear anything. I just want to go in my room and read or something like that. And that doesn't necessarily mean I should have been able to do that.
Yeah.
But it also takes like discernment of like, where like being able to see that in mom had a bad day, and maybe I'm, coming up to her and I'm just like talking and not even like acknowledging the fact that maybe she just wants to be quiet for a bit, so I don't know. It's just like, it's the weird relationship thing, but that's in any relationship too, is like being able to read the room.
Yeah.
Kind of.
And like in respecting sometimes that like need to pull away while also not allowing that to go on for too long. Because I remember me and your dad having conversations. I think daddy's always been a little more bothered by like you guys going to your room and being there like in your room by yourself.
He has always been really upset about that. I remember it would always be like, you guys just sit in your room on your phones all day. And for me, it was more like, I just want to be alone. I've been extra because I'm an introvert too. And that was like my recharge place.
Yeah.
But I also understood why Dad was frustrated because he had been with us, but like I see it now.
He had not been. You guys had been gone.
Yes.
And then you came home, and then you didn't want to like hang out with us.
And in the moment though, I had no awareness of the fact that he wanted to spend time with us. Yeah. I thought he was just being critical of the fact that we wanted to, play video games or be on our phones, or for me it was reading or watching a TV show or watching Hallmark movies. I did like doing that a lot in high school. But But now I can see now it's just because he wanted to spend time with us. Right. But it felt to me like it was a dictator kind of feeling of like, and me and Braden would just be like,
you don't want to.
Dad hates us and doesn't want us to have fun. And, and it's just like, that it's just, like high schoolers just have a limited awareness.
Yeah, for sure. And I remember being like, they just need to like relax for a little bit, or they just, it's normal for I would say to him over again, it's normal for teenagers to want to be in the room by themselves. Yeah. Like that's their safe
was so
place.
Frustrated by
it's
that.
It's like their domain. It's the same reason why for me, like I know that not every parent's going to feel like this, but as long as you guys didn't have like dirty dishes and like stinky things, happening in your room for or unless it just got completely out of control and I'm like, okay, it's been too long. You need to clean your room up. I mostly haven't ever bothered you guys about like how your rooms look, because I feel like
really.
I might be
unless it was like disgusing.
Yeah,
and I had my
like,
shoe
okay,
pile.
You need to clean your room up. But for the most part, I'm just like, this is your space, and you need
you
like
were
a
more
retreat.
Concerned about living spaces.
Yeah,
that was typically like, hey,
let's not.
But our rooms, as long as it wasn't disgusting, you were pretty like,
it's your space. I'm going to let you have your space. And so I feel like there's like the physical element of like, they need to have their space. They do need to have a space that's, if possible, that they can be in and they can relax and recharge and, have their thoughts and, deal with their feelings. They're trying to learn how to do that. And, but then if they're gone for too long and if they're retreated for too long, then like
you have to pull.
Then go up and see them. Go into their room. Be like, hey, what's going on? You've been in here for a long time alone, and what's happening? Making sure that are they being safe? Are they, they do need to connect. Like, and remembering, even though they're showing you that, they still do need to connect with you. It's a basic need. Yes, it is that connection is a need that they still have, that you have to kind of, be watching for and be trying to attune to like, when is it that they need me and when is it that they need to be with other people? When is it that they need to like be alone? And so they're trying to figure that out. And I think it goes better if, parents can be aware of that, respectful of it. Just doesn't mean that they are entitled to all privacy all the time. And like, you don't make sure they're being safe or that they are safe, from other people or situations and stuff like that. But it's like, a balancing act, right? Because they are trying to learn how to be, adults.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's a strange time period, but it's also really formative.
Yeah.
And we were kind of where we were looking at like the statistics and stuff of like high schoolers. We were looking at like how interesting like the sleep cycle is, and like I think about like physical activity and stuff during that time.
Very
and, like,
important. Very important. They
so
stay active in some way. You know, also like what you were saying about the sleep. This is one that can really get, be difficult for parents, especially like if they have grown up in a family culture that says that like sleeping is laziness or like a need to sleep or rest or that kind of thing, that means like you're not being productive enough.
I remember I would come home every day after school and took like a 2-hour nap. It just like, cause I was so emotionally like drained.
Yeah. You're tired.
And like part of that was my depression things, but part of it was just like,
I'm just tired.
I'm just tired.
I just need to sleep.
And I pretty much just slept and woke up for dinner and then stayed up, did my homework and everything.
But you had to be at school super early.
I did have to be at school super early.
And
I had a hard time. I was taking all those classes and
harder
classes. And
exactly. And like one of the things about this time frame that I think is really interesting is that for adolescents, like through those teen years, that their melatonin is not released until later at night. So it's actually harder to go to sleep for teenagers, and they also need to go to bed later and they need to wake up later. So like in an ideal world, teens would go to bed late and sleep in.
And I've seen multiple studies on that because there's always that question of like, when should school start? And I've read several articles. That was like the prime ACT question, right, on the writing essays would be something around the lines of like,
that.
There's this data that like sleep is required for teenagers at this time, and how would that affect the schools? It's just it was always in question.
A lot of time schools like that, for high schools they start earlier, not later.
Which is actually
I think
switched.
Maybe that it's that like
it's actually better for elementary schoolers
because they actually are more early risers. But that's not how it rolls anyway. So like even how we're interpreting that, whether it's okay or not okay for teenagers to sleep more or sleep in later, I mean, it's important to know like what's actually going on. This actually is a physiological issue. That they that is unique to the teenage years. And is not a representation of how lazy your child's going to be as an adult. Because it's going to correct, and they're going to get up earlier, and they're going to go to bed
That's true.
earlier.
I would feel like I'm much more able now.
Oh, me too.
To get up earlier.
And I would say for me, that probably really shifted around my mid-20s. Even.
I used to sleep in till like 12 if I could when I was in high school. But now, like, I usually just wake up whenever the sun comes up. And I'm pretty regulated. Like, I don't feel tired all the time. And part of that's the college life. Like, I'm able to do things a lot slower than whenever my schedule was back to back to back in high school. But I would definitely say like my sleep schedule changes. Not for, Brayden right now sleeps till like 1 a.m. every time he.
You mean 1 p.m.?
1 p.m.? Yes, 1 p.m.
Every time he can.
Oh my goodness, but I can't wake that kid up.
Yeah, I know. He loves to sleep. But each to each their own. But I do let development inform my decision about letting him sleep longer. It's not because I'm not annoyed a bit that he's still asleep. Or that he could be doing something else.
You're just in awareness that it's also needed.
That he might need it. And it's really important for brain development. And so since all this fine-tuning is still happening and all this brain development is still going on, it's actually helpful. My thought is that maybe it's helpful for his brain, to get rest. And so...
And he's usually in a pretty good mood whenever he's gotten that much sleep, too.
Yeah, he is. So. This is true. Braden's our case study.
Braden is our case study.
He is the teenager in the house.
He's the epitome of a teenager.
Oh my goodness. He always has been. Bless his heart.
He has.
But
so just like allowing development to inform your decisions is really important in this season.
Yes.
in that stage.
But I think what we haven't talked about has a lot to do with, who are your teens becoming? What about problematic things that come up in like challenging situations where you have to step in as parent? And I think we are definitely going to cover that. We need to cover that. So we're going to get into that, but we wanted to lay the foundation today.
A ton of experience with this.
I do have a lot of experience with this. My own kids and not my own kids. Yeah. So we're going to talk about that.
Because that's the biggest, I think, question that probably most parents have is
what do I do?
What do I do? Yeah. Mm-hmm. What do I do? So we're going to get into that probably next episode, I'm assuming. Yeah. But we wanted to lay the foundation of just this time.
Yeah.
And
maybe get you thinking about your own experience as a teenager and
putting yourself in your own shoes, remembering what it was like.
Yeah.
So, thank you guys for listening, and make sure to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, or wherever you get your streaming platform, and you can turn your notifications on to make sure you get new episode updates.
Good call.
Yeah.
Thanks
for watching
Thanks
and
for
listening.
being here. All right.
Bye.
Bye.